Hi, everybody. This is Larry Williams, and I'm back. And please bear with me. Let me explain that. I'm not getting bearish. As you know, I've been bullish since last year, the middle of last year. But I want you to bear with me because what we're doing here at StockCharts.com, Larry and StockCharts.com, we're doing our focus on stocks. And this is really our first edition of Focus on Stocks. This is brought to us by StockCharts.com. And it's a work in progress. I hope to provide you with monthly, short, and long-term market timing and some specific stock selection. And then once a month, an online family gathering, if you will, where we get together. You can ask questions. I can show stuff I'm working on, things of that nature. So it'll be a really interesting service for people that are looking at stocks. I'm going to be showing that today. I'm going to give you short-term and long-term market timing, some specifics on individual stocks as well. But as I said, this is a work in progress, so bear with me. Now, if you want to continue getting this, the only way, and I mean only way, you're going to be able to do that is to go to www.stockchart.com, and you can then get the first 2 months of the stock service for free. Just sign up for StockCharts, and after 2 months, well, we'll see. You might not like it. I might not want to continue doing it. It's taking a little bit more than I thought it would. I'm a little perplexed and mixed, and I'm kind of working back into doing this. So after 2 months, we'll both take a look at it and see whether this fits both of us. So that's why I say, bear with me. It's going to be a learning experience together here for the next couple of months, but we can't learn together unless you do go and sign up for StockCharts.com. It's free. And then when we do our next report, which will be right around the 1st of August, it will be mailed to you, be an email. It won't be a TV presentation. Then during the middle of August, we'll do a live presentation where we all get together and I'll show, update things, and you can ask questions, etc. Okay, well, let's start with stock market timing. And if you don't know where the market's going, you're probably going to have questions and wondering about your individual stocks. I was talking to somebody today. I'm here in the mountains of Montana, and they wanted to have a topographical map and compasses and point readings and everything. And I said, if you know where you're going, you don't need a compass. And it's kind of that way in the stock market. If you have an idea where prices are going, you don't need a lot of technical indicators and a lot of news stories. You don't have to listen to all the talking heads if you have a really good idea of where things are going. So I'd like to give you my idea of where things are going. And this is the general roadmap that we've been following for some time now, and I think we will continue following this roadmap. As you know, as I said, I've been bullish since way back here, continue being bullish. This is a long-term roadmap of where I think we are in the stock market, which means that, as I've been saying, buy the dips and sell the big rallies and or hold on. We are in a bull market. Now, guys and gals, I could be wrong, and I'm not perfect. Don't expect that every single recommendation I make here is going to be right. It isn't. Nobody. And I've known the best of the best in this business. Nobody is right all the time. This is a tough business. If you don't think it's a tough business, you shouldn't be doing this. But I think you'll see, and you followed me for years on StockCharts.com. Most of my forecasts have been pretty good, better than the others. So it's probably better to at least think about what I'm doing. But again, I'm not perfect in this. So just keep that in mind. There's no guarantees in this business. Okay, the NASDAQ has been the real strong market here recently. I think we can learn a lot from that. We've noticed cyclical lows about every 4 months in the NASDAQ, and we've got one coming up about August 12th, which means we should see any strength extrapolated in the market about that time period. We're getting close to that now, aren't we? So that's generally speaking what the cycles have been in this market. I can fine-tune that a little bit with a longer-term view. The blue line is a very long-term view of the NASDAQ. Now, remember, just because cycles top out doesn't mean prices will. It means what these lows, we accentuate moves in the market. That's how cycles work. Cycles really don't work very well at calling market tops for the most part, but they tell us when the trend will be accentuated. So we see right about now, and of course that's been happening. And again, about 1st of September, we should see the trend accentuated, and the blue line, that's a longer term move, also starts to pick up at that time period. So we're starting to see an accentuation of price. There's this opportunity, and the next really great buying opportunity based on cycles in the NASDAQ around the end of September when everything gets in gear back to the upside. And the NASDAQ is on crazier. All the speculative stocks have taken off, and this has been really the driving force. This is where the speculators have been in the market. There is good news. June wholesale prices rise less than expected, and another encouraging inflation report. Isn't it interesting? They show pictures of people buying booze when you look for pictures of inflation, booze, and oh, look at that, Bud Light over there, reduced. Okay, fundamental facts of life right now are, I don't care who's bearish, all these Cassandras, the end of the world people. The facts are GDP's grown, but it's still at a solid pace in the first quarter of this year. Consumer spending unchanged while personal saving rate rose. That's good. People are saving money. They have money to invest later on in stocks, pay off debt, etc. Payroll growth was solid in June. Unemployment rate fell slightly. And core CPI inflation over the last year fell. So despite the purveyors of pessimism, there's actually good news out there. Better than you might think. Just today, the New York Fed Business Leader Survey was released. You can see the long-term, the dark line is the expected. These are business leaders, head of corporations, head of finance departments. This is their expectation of what they think will happen. For some time now, since the middle of 2022, they've thought things have gotten better, and things have gotten better. You can see the last recession we had, the big one in 2008, the little one that we had in the COVID recession. And where we are now, we don't see recessions. When the business activity, these leaders are forecasting higher prices, we just don't see recessions then. So that's good news. We can blow that up a little bit to give you kind of up close and personal view. You can see back in November, it started turning up and up and up. So people that really run these businesses and have their views of the future, they're bullish. This is reality. The talking heads that are so bearish all the time, that's not reality. I don't know what world they live in. By the way, the war on inflation was won in 2022. And I say that because this chart was prepared at the first of 2022, and that was my cycle for inflation. The red line is a cycle for inflation. The black line is a 12-month rate of change for inflation. And you can see the forecast was for inflation to go down. The question is, has it? Well, yeah, it sure has, hasn't it? We started to see that rollover. Not only that, and this has been a good long-term buy indication, when inflation can give really good buy signals in the stock market, when it comes down for 3 consecutive time periods, look what happened. There's a buy signal, there's a buy signal. Our last one was right back here. So the inflation buy signal is still in effect. Inflation starts to come down, stocks rally. Inflation comes down, stocks rally. What's inflation been doing? The rate of change of inflation has been coming down. You cannot argue that. That's just simple economic mathematics, and that is bullish for stock prices. Another reason to continue with a bullish outlook on stock prices itself. I'd like to take a little fundamental look. We're using StockCharts.com charts. We're looking now on a weekly basis of the Dow Jones Industrial Average versus my valuation index. This is some cause for concern. We are currently overvalued. You can see the last time we were overvalued, close to it here, overvalued here, overvalued up here. So in terms of valuation measures, and this is not a timing tool, it's a valuation measure, we probably would rather be a buyer back here when we're in an undervalued situation. So there's a little bit of caution based on valuation in the market. Also, if we look at seasonal, this is my true seasonal available in StockCharts.com. We're seeing a couple more weeks of rally here. Then the seasonal starts to come down into that end of September time period we were talking about. So seasonality is a little bullish for the next couple of weeks. Then we see seasonal pressures in the marketplace. I also like to look at my money flow index. This is available in StockCharts.com, of course. It's really interesting when it's very high. It tells us that smart money has been buying in the market as they were here, right here, right here, right here, right back here. They bought the panic low. They're buying way up here at high prices. They're very bullish, right? Well, look where we are now. We're not in the buy zone. So for ideal trades, I prefer to see that money flow index, essentially institutions have been buying. they're not there. The last point, they were in the negative area. So probably want to wait a little bit here for an optimal buy point. I'd like to see our money flow index get into the buy zone here. I'd feel much more comfortable if that's where we were than where we are right now. Finally, let's look at advisory sentiment. Again, we're looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average on a weekly basis. When the advisors are really bullish, as they were back here, we tend to go sideways or down. Really bullish here, sideways and down. Really bullish here, oh, straight down. Really bullish here, down. Well, they were really bullish a while ago. They're kind of mixed right now. The optimal time is when the advisors are very negative, as they were here, as they were here, as they were back here. Remember, we got long right here the week of the low, in part because the advisors were so darn bearish in the stock market. You can see a pretty good indicator. And we'd love to see for long-term positions the advisory sentiment as we measure it, them being very bearish, because the advisors tend to be bullish at market tops and bearish at market bottoms. So that's another indicator to watch out for. We're talking now on a longer-term basis, weekly to monthly moves in the market. And finally, let's look at my COT index. A little different. You're not going to have this. This is something I create. But the COT index right now is in the negative area, suggesting we can see some declines in the market. And you notice that's been a pretty reliable indicator. We like to see the commercials buying in this market. When they're buying here, buying over here, buying here, buying back here. When they get negative, prices can still rally, but it's a negative in the market. So how do we bottom line all this intermediate term look into the future? I think it's best this way. I'll be patient. I'm going to wait for a setup buy area. I think there's a great one coming here, but we need to see a setup buy area coming, and that's probably not coming quite yet. So short term, yeah, we're in a strong market. We're going to rally some more in here. But in terms of making a significant commitment to the market, let's wait till we get a more set up market for that. But it is coming, by the way. Okay, the last forecast report that I did for everybody on StockCharts.com with our focus on stocks was a July trade. We're supposed to buy around the 1st of July. That was a forecast. This is right from that PowerPoint slide that we did. And this is what should happen in the market. Well, as you know, what should happen and what does happen aren't always the same, but we always need to see how we did. The one thing I've noticed about the real winners in the marketplace is they're not afraid to look at their losers and their winners. And the real losers in the marketplace never look at their losers. The only way you can learn is to look at your loser. So let's take a look. This was the buy point we were looking for. Well, so that's our buy zone right here. Price was pulled back immediately and then have taken off. Well, this was a 9-day hold, so we should have bought about here, maybe here, and hold for 9 days, which is right about now. The 17th or 18th of July is the exit. You can see the seasonal power is still to the upside. We're following it well this year. We may continue rallying, but in terms of that short-term trade, came out pretty well this year. Long, didn't get stopped out, and the market moved to the upside. And again, you can see we have a bullish seasonality bias in this market until about the middle of August. So you might want to keep that in mind in terms of where we're going on a short-term basis. But that trade, fortunately, came out pretty good for us on the long side of the market. So that was nice. Okay, now let's look at some other prior comments I made from the last time, because if I'm going to do this on a monthly basis, we have to review the good, the bad, and the ugly. As I said, I'm not going to be perfect. My thoughts were that AMD, we should rally. And as you know, AMD has come down. This, by the way, chart is not up to date. This chart is from the last forecast. So you can go back and see what AMD has done. I believe it's made new highs. It has rallied pretty well. So that was a pretty good call in the market. Nvidia, of course, that's a stock we said everybody wanted to own. It should bounce and start to come up. Well, it's done that. And I think we'll continue doing that. This has been one of the leading stocks. We should be careful, though. We have a little pullback and then a high coming in probably September or late September. So we'll want to follow that. But those of you who have been along the stocks have trailing stops, give it some breathing room. This has been a strong one. Apple thought a buy point was coming up in August. I still do. The market's rallied. I didn't think it would continue rallying. It has, more than I thought that it would, frankly. but I still think you're going to see an extrapolation of the rally, because look at the cycle low. We've usually seen rallies there. Look at that. And we're going to focus on that a little bit more in a moment as well. And we talked about Tesla, expected Tesla back and fill. It's actually made new highs, so we're dead wrong on this. We think that it should bounce about now, and it has done that, but I personally thought it would back and forth a little bit more, and it has not done that. It's been a very strong stock, in part probably because Ford acknowledged that their trucks aren't as good as their batteries are not as good as Tesla's. And Tesla, of course, has been a powerhouse in India, and Ford is not a powerhouse in India. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this stock. It's still really one of the most significant stocks to have in the marketplace, and you should keep that in mind. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. In a little bit, we're going to go a little bit more into this. Okay, it's time to now focus right here, right now, on individual stocks that I think are set up now to start to have some type of move into the marketplace. So let's take a look at that, okay? And we're going to begin with the list of those stocks. These are stocks I think short to intermediate term traders should be focusing on: Draftkings, Lululemon, OPRA, Advanced Micro Devices, and First Solar Inc. I've got 5 of them here. That may be too many. Maybe we're going to have to learn we should have just 1 or 2 or 10. I don't know. But we're going to start with 5. You should be able to find something in this group of stocks that appeals to you. I'm certain you're all doing your own work. You have StockCharts.com software, whatever. These are stocks, so you should be following. So if arrows in your quiver say it's a buy, you could take advantage of that. These are ones I would like to see you focus on. And let's start with DraftKings. And DraftKings, oh my gosh, they say the house has the advantage, and they do. The casinos in Las Vegas have a slight advantage. There, as I can tell from what I've been told from one of my reliable sources, it is darn near impossible to win at DraftKings.com the way it's set up. Well, it looks like you can, but it's going to be really hard for them to have to pay out big money to big winners, because they just don't let big winners happen. So this is a stock that can make a lot of money for investors and holders of the stock. So we look at this stock a lot and say, oh, look at that. Cyclical low, cyclical low, cyclical low, cyclical low. Oh, we've got one coming up right about the end of July. We should start to see another nice up move or an acceleration if we are in an uptrend of DraftKings. So that's one to be looking for. We know we have a cyclical opportunity coming up at the end of this month. If we look at DraftKings in terms of the accumulation, my money flow index, actually the money flow index, the funds have been selling this market, probably taking some profits in here. I'd like to see, we're looking at this on a daily basis, I'd like to see them back on the long side of this market to really set up the trade. So you can be watching for that as well. But definitely this is a stock you want to have on your portfolio list of going long. Lululemon, Lululemon's kind of an interesting company. It looks like it's fallen apart, but look like we've been in a big, big trading base for 2022. Could we break out? I think we may, based on their marketing new twists and endeavors. And if we look at cyclical lows, pretty darn good. And we are coming up to that. Well, the absolute low would be the middle of August. This is here, this is here, this is here. So right around the first part to the middle of August, you really want to put this on the front burner and be looking for a buying opportunity. And I would expect we could break out. And if we do break out of all these highs in here, Katie bar the door, Lululemon's not going to be a lemon stock anymore. It could have a significant move to the upside. So let's pay attention to that one. If we look at it on a shorter term basis now, looking at my true seasonal on a daily chart, we see that the seasonal, the market has been following the seasonal influence this year, which continues to say we can continue to rally in this market. So there's one that I'd like you to pay attention to as a potential stock, again, to be on the long side. If we look at on a weekly basis now, my money flow index, notice the funds were accumulating it here and here, accumulating here, close to a buy point here. They haven't quite got there yet, but watch this. You guys and gals that have StockCharts.com, we get into the buy area again or get close to it, it's going to be really bullish for the stock. So there's another little tool you can use. Or if you don't have StockCharts.com, you have whatever, look for accumulation in this stock. I think there's going to be accumulation and a breakout to the upside. So guys and gals, act accordingly. OPRA, whoa, this is a great stock, but it got whacked last week. Really came down big time. Is it all over? I don't think so. I think that was kind of a fake out, shake out, breakout type of thing, and that we still have a lot more room to go in this market. Let me show you what I mean. This is our long-term cyclical low. We'll see here, see here. So we've got that coming up again about the middle of August. If we look at it on a daily basis, there's that big break. It's probably going to take some backing and filling in here, but look, on a daily basis, already the funds have started to accumulate this. That's bullish. They bought the break. The public didn't, the funds did. So I think we can back and fill in here a little bit more, get close to this cyclical time period that we saw. There we go. There's a cyclical low coming up. That's what we're looking for, okay? And we see that the funds have started to buy it on a daily basis. On a weekly basis, though, they're not quite there yet. But look, they started to buy. You can see it's starting to accumulate. So let's watch this market, because when they accumulate, the stock has been very positive. So big break scares the public, big uptrending market. The trend is up. What do you want to do in uptrending stocks? You want to buy pullbacks. You don't want to look to sell this market short. You're bucking a huge trend here. So let's look to buy that pullback. On a daily basis, sentiment went very negative in this stock last Friday. You can see what happens when the advisors get very bearish. We typically rally. This, to me, looks a lot like this, except it was such a break. I think we're going to have to bounce back and forth in here, get into that August time period, and then look for and take buy signals in OPRA. On a weekly basis, we can also see, again, the advisor very bearish in the market, and that's what we like to see. When the newsletters are saying sell, that tends to be a really good time to buy, especially in an uptrending market. AMD, well, it looks like this market's ready to rally. A cyclical low is coming in effect. The blue line is a long-term trend of this market. It looks to me like this stock can rally into the middle of September, 1st of October. Then I'd want to take profits and stand aside, because the long-term starts to turn down at AMD. 1st of September, middle of September. I mean, I can't call these things to the absolute day high or low, but we know this is an area to be taking profits. This is an area to be looking to be long the market, right? And that more isn't much more complicated than that. So let's be taking a look at that to see where we're going in the market. The money flow index is set up really well in here. They started to see a lot of buying come in here, and of course the market started to rally. So we have been set up for this market to rally. Okay, again, how are you going to get your free months of this report for free? My focus on stocks. Just go to StockCharts.com, and you'll have to type that into your computer, and then you can get the first 2 months. Just sign up for StockCharts, and you'll get it for free. And we will send out the monthly report when I write it in August for you. That will be a written format, and it's totally free. And after the trial months, as I said, we'll see what we're going to do at that point. I don't know. You might not want me to do it. I might not want to do it. We're just going to have to take a look and see where we are at that point. Okay. Okay. First Solar, this stock really intrigues me a lot. Again, cyclical lows have been pretty good. We're coming into that the end of this month. So this is a stock I think you really want to pay attention to. Big up move in the market, a pull back in this market starting to develop. So this is another one to put on your drawing board, or at least put up in the first 4 or 5 charts on your computer to pay attention to First Solar. If we look at now on a weekly basis, we see the funds started to buy a little bit in here, as they did back here and over here. So you can follow that as well, but look for accumulation in this market. It looks like the funds are stepping back in on the long side of this. So let's pay attention to this one. I think we're going to have a really nice move here. Chipotle, it might be time for a snack. Look at the seasonal pattern in this market. Woo, we should start usually in the past. This is simply the past. This market's rallied quite strongly here, and looks like the past may be repeated this year. So short-term traders, there's a nice market stock for you that I would expect to continue to following the seasonal pattern this year. Okay, now let's look at the big guns of Wall Street. The big guns of Wall Street are Microsoft. Microsoft is at a low. We should continue rallying until about October. Then the market starts to get pretty choppy in here. But the strength that we've seen, I think we have one more up leg to Microsoft. Apple, one of the other really big guns of the marketplace, right? One of the most important stocks in the entire world. We're getting into that August buy point in this stock, when we would expect an extrapolation of prices to the upside. So I'll pay a lot of attention to this stock. There's a seasonal pattern as well. Oh, hell, look at that. Need I say more? Probably not, huh? Tesla, this is a long-term cycle forecast. We should start to dip in here, but we again go higher, which tells me, and I'm looking at weekly charts now, as a buy and hold, yeah, you don't want to get out of this market. We're going to have a dip in here. Cycles do not tell us how much the dip is. They say about how long the dip will last. That's all that they're going to do for us. They expect some selling pressures in a couple of weeks from now, and then another buying opportunity because we should move to new highs. Cyclical lows have been pretty good in this market, so we can pay attention to it. Seasonally, well, we're following the seasonal pattern pretty well here. It gets kind of choppy. We've broken out. So, you want to buy weakness. Now, most traders, great trading lesson for you, they want to sell Tesla short here because it's been an uptrend, therefore it should decline. The reality is they're trying to defy the law of gravity. Stocks will go up, usually continue going up. Stocks that go up are hardly ever the best stock to sell short. It takes incredible market timing to sell stocks like this short. The trend is your friend. It's up. Pay attention to it. Here's a great Tesla trade coming up. 78% of the time, starting in August, we have rallied into September. You can see where that trade was last year. This is kind of a wave pattern I do. Those who have my annual forecast report have seen some of our forecasts. Strong up move, almost 80% of the time. Starting in August, we've seen a rally in Tesla. So let's really pay a lot of attention to that. You can see how it was last year as well, okay? So stocks for the long term, for those like really long term, I think the best thing is to look at the stocks that Warren Buffett owns and some of the other major long-term investors and monitor their portfolio. I'd like to get more into these in my monthly forecast when we do the write-up of it. So look at Bank of America, Lowe's, Coke, American Express, Diageo, Occidental Petroleum, Moody's, Apple. Those are the big stocks that the big funds, these type of people, and I'm going to be focused more attention on those as we come up. Oh, gold, let's not forget gold. Gold right here, right now, we talked about this rallying as starting to take off, should rally until the first part of October. Okay, I got a great trade coming up for you in August. If we look at every trading day of the month, if we bought on the first trading day of the month of August, we lose money. But look what happened buying trading day 12, 13, 14, a lot of green lines here. The best would be to buy the S&P minis on the 14th trading day. In the last 25 years, that's been 84% correct. I'm using a $2,200 stop with a 3-day exit. We can maximize that with an 8-day hold, but we really don't make much more money than we do down here with a 3-day hold. And our accuracy goes from 76 to 84%. Buying with a 1-day, get out after being in the first profitable opening, 88% correct. So there's a really nice short-term trade coming up for you. Again, critical point, if you want to continue getting this report, you must sign up at www.stockcharts.com. Do it now or never. So this is your chance. It's free. And again, bear with me. After 2 months, we'll see if I want to go forward, if you want to go forward. So it's a great experience. We'll enjoy each other. We'll do this. But that's going to wrap it up for now. I hope this has been educational, something you have learned from, and more importantly, something you can actually use in the market itself. So sign up, and then you will get my written report for Focus on Starts coming up in August. So this is Larry Williams. Until next time, as always, wishing you good luck and good trading.